It was my rare day off, a day where I didn't have to worry about all the traveling and the chaos that usually accompanies my work. A day where I can just relax. Most people might spend it doing something active, going out camping or to an event or to play sports. I like to spend my break being sedentary, cuddling up with a good book, looking up random things on the internet, in general, lazing around are my favorite things. I was doing the second thing on my list when something strange happened. I have a pretty new laptop with the newest operating system, so when the pop-up came up on my screen, it was a bit surprising. Not just because I have pop-ups disabled, but because the format and the style of it was of an older operating system. I frowned, hoping that I didn't have a virus or something, my first thought when anything goes wrong with my computer. The message on the pop-up was written in Japanese, and it read, "Do you like it?" The text was in black and the background was in a bright red. There was nothing else in the ad. I scrunched my face in confusion, but I figured that it was just one of those, "Congratulations, you win a new game console" type of things that messed up. The website that I was on wasn't the most legitimate looking. I shrugged it off and clicked on the big red X in the corner to close it out. I left the site as well, for good measure, and decided to get some tea before streaming some shows. I was only gone for 10 minutes, but when I came back into my room, the ad was there again. Now I was more worried about the possibility of a virus. I didn't have anything open on my computer, so it definitely wasn't just some pop-up. I closed out of it again and went to run a computer scan when it appeared again. This time, a voice followed it.
"Do you like it?"
It was a high-pitched child's voice. I couldn't tell if it belonged to a boy or a girl. The voice seemed to echo as if someone was talking in a tunnel. I quickly checked my volume, and with a sinking feeling, my fears were confirmed. My computer was muted. I felt goosebumps travel up my spine. I closed out of the pop-up again, but it simply came right back up, the voice louder. I immediately stood up and closed my laptop. "Nope, not today," I muttered out loud. I made my way to go out of my room, but my door wouldn't open. I frantically pulled on the knob. There was no lock on the door. There was a pinging noise behind me, and I jumped. I looked at the computer on the table with bated breath.
"Do you like the red?"
The voice now asked. At this moment, I knew what this was. How could I not? It was a very popular urban legend in Japan. Even the slashing incident that had ties with the legend occurred in the city I lived in before. This was the Red Room. I ran to my window and threw open the curtains. I pushed at the frame, but it was no use. It wouldn't budge. I looked out and hoped that someone would be outside, as it was still in the middle of the day, but the street outside was sparse. Behind me, the child's voice was growing louder. The question now was in a continuous loop.
"Do you like the red? Do you like the red? Do you like the red?"
I felt tears of frustration running down my face as it grew harder and harder to hear my own thoughts. But I needed to get out. I left my phone in the kitchen so I couldn't call for help, so I looked for something I could use in my room. I grabbed my chair and began to use its leg to try to break open the window. It took a few tries, but I could begin to see cracks form in the glass. I also noticed that my room was growing darker, even though the sky was cloudless blue. I kept beating the window as the computer continued its barrages. I could feel the vibrations, as the voice was no longer a far-off echo, but a quaking scream. Suddenly, I heard the shattering of glass, but instead of joy, I felt coldness, because being able to hear meant that the voice was now quiet. I stood still, the chair no longer in my hands, but on the floor, forgotten. The silence was deafening. I should have ran to the window and broke off the rest of the glass to escape, but a foreboding feeling in the pit of my stomach prevented me from moving. That and the breath on the nape of my neck.
Do you like the red room?
Red. 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 Of course I like the red room. Red. I've always wanted a red room. Red. This room is not red. You have to fix that. Red. I searched around on my desk. Box cutter. Perfect. Red. Hands isn't enough. I need more. Red. Have to make sure not to waste a single drop. Red. The banging at the door woke me up. Sumire? I recognized that voice. It was my partner at work, Sora. I groaned. What is he doing here on my day off? I slowly opened my eyes and almost passed out as dizziness suddenly hit me. There was a splintering of wood, an intake of breath. What happened in here? I barely caught his question as my vision went black for a second. I felt a hand on my back. What are you doing here? I managed to mumble. I looked up into his face and realized that I was sitting in the middle of my room. You didn't come into work today, so I came up to check on you. Right on time, it looks like. My head was starting to clear and I felt stinging pain from all over my body. It's my day off. Sora gave me a look. That was yesterday. I looked down in confusion, too tired to hold my head up, and saw my hands. They were covered in blood. My eyes traveled up my arm, where cuts were engraved in almost every part of my skin. I had apparently taken off my clothes as well, and my legs were in the same state as my arms. I looked up at Sora fearfully. Let's get you to the doctor. He gently wrapped a blanket from my bed around me and carried me. It was then I noticed the state of my room. Red. There was blood all over the walls. My blood. I pulled on Sora's clothes. My laptop. Check my laptop. Setting me down gently on my feet, he opened my laptop. There was a single window open. A single screen with black text, framed in a bulky, old-fashioned window.
Do you like the red room?